I just wanted to see if anybody would show up if I logged on at 4 a.m. So I'm going to wait approximately 3 minutes and see if anyone actually shows up at 4 a.m. I would say I don't know why I'm even up at 4 a.m., but I do know why I'm up at 4 a.m. And it's because after 6 months, well, hi, people did show up. How about that? I didn't think anybody would show up at 4 a.m. Yeah, this is a pop quiz. I'm trying out something on my phone. Um, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Normally, I would be sound asleep. But after 6 months, I went metal detecting yesterday, and my body is killing me. Oh my God, I don't know why they think metal detecting is a sport for 70-year-old people. Because our bodies may want to do it, but I mean, our brain may want to do it, but our bodies don't always. But yeah, I went detectifying. I did. Had to go 3 places to find one that I could detect in. The I live right on a county line, and yeah, that wasn't that Kennedy awesome. I mean, that thing is supreme. It is so clean, and it's probably been down there a long time or a very short time. The park I found it in, it's the park I call Junk Park, but I have researched that park, and it has been there. The park has been there since the late 1800s in one form or another. And this was right up at the top where they have a little tot lot. Now, I've been through that place a bazillion times. My friend Tony has been through there. I don't know how many times. It's regularly detected, but usually people stick to right around where the toys and the sandboxes, and this was kind of just over in a grassy area, kind of near the fence. And I have found quarters and other coins up in that area before. I don't know why this suddenly showed up. I don't know if somebody planted it or I just was lucky enough to isolate it because I was using the 5-inch double D sniper coil that I haven't really had a chance to use a whole lot. And it does if I'm still learning the technique of using it, which is you have to go really, really slow with that coil and have it actually pretty much resting on the ground, and it will pick up like 9 zillion trash pieces, and your numbers will be jumping back and forth. And then if you're really slow, you can zone in on one number. Well, I zoned in on this 93, and it just kept coming up 93, 95. Now, 91s are usually quarters on the Simplex Plus, but this was a persistent sound in between a bunch of junk. And it was 5.5, 6 inches down. So I don't really think somebody planted it. Didn't see any sign of any recent digging around that area. So yeah, it was really a good find for my first time out in 6 months, it was really the only really good find. I found another 41 cents or so in change. And then I found this other thing. I'm going to put it up on, I'm going to make a little video. But at first, I thought it was like a nail or a screw. Oh, first, I thought it was a flat nail. And I thought, no, there wouldn't be a flat nail up here. And then when I started looking at it, it's about 2.5 inches long, and it's a little bitty sword or bayonet, like it came from an action figure or an army man or something. I'm not still not quite sure what it is. But it's an interesting little piece. I'm gonna have to try to identify it. But I didn't last too long because I've been really sick since November. I've had influenza A and was in the hospital for that, and I just barely got over that, and I got the COVID, the one that starts with the Oberon, whatever the heck it's called. So I had that and landed in the hospital with that. So my body's pretty weak, and I'm telling that's why I'm up at 4 a.m. doing this because I hurt. But yeah, the first when I first went in the gate, I found a penny, and I said, "Well, at least I'm, getting a signal." And then I went over in the sandbox. Well, I worked my way over to one of the sandboxes, and I I had this signal, kept digging and digging and digging, and some kid had taken a pencil and pushed it straight down into the ground in the sand, and right up against one of the poles holding the roof up, and that thing drove me crazy. And it was, the eraser head, the metal around the eraser head, but it was a whole Ticonderoga pencil jammed down in there. And I thought, well, this isn't going to be too good. And then I found a bunch of pull tab remains, and I was kind of thinking, well, this was a waste of time. I should just go home. And then I dug that Kennedy, and I didn't even have my GoPro. I just had my phone in my pocket, and so I wasn't really filming the digs. I was just filming once I found something. Then I would say, well, here's what I just dug. Here's what I just dug, and I made like probably the world's absolute worst plug on that Kennedy. But when I did flip the plug up, I could see it sticking out. I mean, it was like almost fully exposed, and I was like, I thought at first it was some kind of a token because that's just not the kind of place where I would expect to have found a No, it was a 64. It's a 90 percenter. It's beautiful. There's a picture of it over in the under the community tab on my channel, both front and back. No, it's a 90 percenter and it's gorgeous. I mean, like I said, either somebody had it in their pocket and lost it, or it's been down there since the '60s, but it's pretty pristine. It is a really nice 64. Uh, it's I haven't put it under the scope yet because by the time I got home, my body was hurting so bad. I almost couldn't get out of the playground and back to the park. I wasn't even out there maybe 40 minutes, and some of that I was sitting down resting. But yeah, my body wanted to keep hunting, but I mean, my brain wanted to keep hunting, but my body was like, "No, you got to go home. You're in trouble here." That's why I'm up at 4 a.m. I woke up and my shoulders and my back are killing me, but to find that was worth it. And that's not even where I wanted to go. I was just going to go up the street by my storage bin, which is like a mile up the road. There's a school, and I haven't searched there for a long time, and I usually do okay on that ground. Now, school has been out in that county, so I didn't figure there'd be anybody up there at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. But they must have been having some kind of event or meeting or something because I mean, the place was jam packed with cars. So I said, well, let me go up to my other park that I hit. I've still never covered this whole park. It's a great big county park. And I was just gonna go do the top lot there. Well, I turned and went around the corner to get into the park. Big signs, park closed for maintenance, and they're bulldozing everything. They're dozing the parking lot and the top lot. They had taken all of the mulch and stuff and were flattening it out. And I really wanted to go down in there while they had all that stuff stripped off, but I'm hoping they don't bring fill dirt in and dump it on there because yeah, it's got all the detail. That's the amazing thing. The all the lines in the hair are there when you flip it over to the reverse. All the feathers on the eagle. I mean, it is a really, really nice coin. I was so in shock that I dug that where I dug it, and that it was, like I said, it was 5.5, 6 inches down, so it wasn't like a recent drop or anything. It's just something that for whatever reason, all the times we've been through that place, we have missed it. And my guess is because there is so much trash. This park for over 80 years, had a big music festival every August, and there's just so much trash. That's why I call it junk park. There's just so much junk. And I did have the little coil on, and the soil. We just had snow a few days ago, so the soil is still pretty wet here. And up there on that part of the park, the main part of the park is kind of down in, not really a valley, but a depression, a drop down. But this is up on the higher edge of the park. And I know they have put some fill in the lower part of the park, but I don't think they've really needed to put fill up where I was. And I think just the combination of everything was right, because I was picking up a tremendous amount of trash, and there was a lot of stuff that I thought about digging, but like I said, I haven't been out for 6 months, so my body is not really in good shape. I know I left a bunch of pennies behind that I just didn't didn't want to use my energy on. But yeah, that is a really, really beautiful coin. I was just and of course my eyesight's not that great either, so I had to wait until I got home so I could knock a little of the dirt off of it. I didn't want to damage it in any way, and I wanted to get home where I could put on some better glasses, and I didn't have a jeweler's loupe with me, so I didn't know if it had a mint mark on it, which it does not. So it's just a straight up 64. But yeah, I was just shocked, and it was just sitting there in the plug, and I could see the edge of it, so I could tell it wasn't clad. And but when, at first sight, I thought it was some kind of a token. Yeah, well, I haven't been coming on, and I was trying. I thought, okay, I'm up at 4 a.m. Nobody's gonna be on here. I'm going to try this thing out on my phone. Uh, and so I didn't really expect anybody to even come in. So thanks, Jimmy, for popping in. I'm going back to bed pretty soon. I just got up to take something for pain because I've been in there flipping and flopping since about 1:30, and it's like 4:19 our time now, and I haven't been able to get back to sleep because my shoulders and my lower back are kind of bothering me. So I figured I'd just get up and take this medicine, and hoping that my harassing troll wouldn't show up. I've had some weird stuff going on. That's one of the reasons I have not been online. I've had people wanting to fight with me. Hey, Jack. But then the other night I was in somebody's stream, and this guy that I've never heard of the name before. I don't think it was the person's normal operating name. Was acting like real friendly, like it was, hey, Sis, how you doing? Long time no see, kind of stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. Well, then the guy says, hey, Sue, send me some more pictures. And I'm like, I don't send people pictures. Pictures of what? And it started getting real creepy, and the guy's going, of you, I haven't seen you for a long time. And I'm like, I have no idea who this guy is, but he's been showing up, and I wasn't a mod, so I couldn't really go and look and see who it was. Yeah, Jack, I just got up to take some pain meds because I finally got to go detecting, and I kind of overdid it, even though I was only out there 35, 40 minutes. It was a lot since I haven't been for over 6 months, and I just got over COVID and stuff. So yeah, I just got up to go to the bathroom and take something for pain, and wanted to try this thing. Um, StreamYard has done some changes, and I mostly use it on my desktop computer. So I wasn't sure how the changes would affect using it on an iPhone. So I thought, nobody's gonna be up. I can try it out. And I ended up with 5 of you in here. So I guess everybody had to get up and go to the bathroom. Trixie, I don't know what he wants, but he needs to leave me alone. I don't like people that it was creepy. And so um I just excused myself from the channel, and so just said, hey, I gotta run, take my medicine, just stopped in to hit the like, and I left because it was getting creepier and creepier, and two other people had sent me private messages going, "Who is that? Is that somebody you know?" And I'm like, "No, I have no idea who that is. It's just some creepy guy." Benji, Mr. Mac, what are you doing up? Same like the rest of us, don't feel good. Oh, we told him it was creepy, and he just was like putting little funny faces and stuff up there. But we couldn't find him. When we looked on Facebook, there was a whole bunch of people with that name, but there was none with that picture. So we think it was somebody that had just changed their name and was messing with me. And like I said, since I wasn't a mod on that channel, I couldn't click on that person's channel link and go see who it was. But one of the mods is gonna go back to the live stream replay and see if he can figure out who that was, because it was right at the beginning of the person's stream. We shouldn't have too much trouble getting back to where it was in the stream that it happened. But yeah, it was extra creepy. That's a good way to describe it. And then a couple days before that, oh, here's a new scam, guys. Or it may not be new, but it was new to me. For those of you who do uh, giveaways, um, I had somebody respond to one of my posts where I was listing people that I had sent their packages out to and mentioned that I had found some envelopes that people had sent to me. And this person I was not familiar with, they're, to my knowledge, not a member on my channel, uh, posted back and asked me if I had found an envelope for them with some silver graham bars in it. And I'm like, number one, it's a very rare thing that I would be giving away silver graham bars. I think I've given away two or three of them in the entire history of my channel. And that's because I don't buy those, the little like 1/10, the tiny ones. I don't buy those, but once in a while I will win one. Oh, good. You got your package. Yay. I hope everything was okay in it. So, anyway, I don't know this person, and they're telling me I owe them silver grams. And I'm like, my first thought was, I've only given away three of those ever that I know of. Actually, two, and I have one I'm giving away on the 27th. Now, actually, one that's going to be in an auction because it was given to me to be auctioned with another item. But I digress. So, anyway, I thought this is weird. You know, so I keep a book with all of my things that I give away and to whom, and also my shipping program. I use Pirate Ship. So every time I make a label, I have a record in there, who it went to, and tracking numbers and delivery status. I have all of those records going back a long way. Never heard of this person. And they're telling me that I owe them a package. And so I went back and double checked, but I just told them, I said, well, um, I don't usually give those away. But if you can tell me when you won this, could you have won it under a different account name or whatever? I'll be happy to look. But on my channel, you have 5 days to claim your prize by email. I have no emails under this name. But if you'll send me the info, send me, the name I would have shipped it to you under, etc. I'll be happy to check for you. Crickets. This person was just trying to get me to go, oh, I owe you a package. I'm sorry. Let me send you out some silver right away. So if you're doing giveaways, watch out for that. I know most of us that do them keep pretty decent records of who we sent what to and when. One of the few screw ups I have had has actually been with Sir Benji. I had a package for him sitting here and didn't have an ad or didn't have the info. And turns out he had one sitting there for me, so it was actually kind of funny. But we actually, know each other, well enough to say, well, next time I see Benji, I'll straighten it out, or next time I see Suze, I'll straighten it out. But this person I had never heard of, and I didn't like that they did it in public, but that was the whole point. They did it in public to make it look like I needed to cover my butt and go, oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss sending your giveaway to you? Here, let me send you something. If I owe somebody something, I'll make sure they get it. But I've never heard of this person. There was no emails from that person. So um if you have somebody approach you in that way, don't let them sucker you out of a coin or whatever the prize is, because they will try. I had just never had anybody do it blatantly out in public that way before. I had an email once where somebody said I owed them something, and they were very insistent that they had won this item on my channel. And I finally figured out where they had won, and it wasn't on my channel. It was on someone else's channel. But they were very insistent that I owed them a prize. And so when I finally figured it out and I contacted the channel that they had actually won the prize on and said, look, this person thinks I owe them something from a contest that I never had. And people have said they believe that he actually won it on your channel. Could you please check? And yada yada yada. And so finally the guy got his prize, and the sad part, he never even said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake." And he never even said, "Thank you for finding my prize." Yeah, Doug's got it. I want my $2. I throw that into my show periodically. I do have the sound bite for that. That was one of my favorite movies. I wanted to use my other favorite clip from that movie, but I was afraid someone would get on me for not being politically correct. As my other favorite clip is where the guy ends up falling in the dumpster and the trash guys are going by, and the black dude looks and he goes, well, look at that. Somebody threw away a perfectly good white boy. And I wanted to use that, but I was afraid someone would turn me in for being offensive, like I'm never offensive. Uh, yeah, I've been taking a break. I've actually been offline for like 12 days. I did let M3 go on the other day. He gets more views than I do anyway. But I will be back on, what is it, March 27th, I think it is. Yeah, March 27th. I'm making a video about that now. I will be doing auctioning off some items that they were gifted through one of my uh giveaways, and the winner of them donated them back and told me to auction them off and put the money in my moving fund, which it looks like I am actually finally going to get back to Michigan. Not quite where I wanted to be, but it will at least get me there so I can get my treatments going. And then I can always look for a better place once I'm there. Because I would have, but anyway, if Benji's still here, I'm moving to Burton, but the side closer to Davison. I won't be like butted up against Flint, but that means I'll be fairly close to the Goodwill bins. So yeah, anyway, so it's going to be about 4 months. I'm up the list now. I'm not like 2 years back. So anyway, on the 27th, um, I don't know if I'm actually going to auction the items or just do buy it nows. Haven't decided yet. And then I have some things that are still in my giveaway basket that were donated that I need to make sure get given away. Um, I try not to keep things that were not intended for me to keep. Um, then I found one envelope that has a bunch of things in it. I found three envelopes that somehow, when I went in the hospital for the flu in November, these envelopes just got stuck in my desk. They had not even been opened. Well, one of them had been opened, but I didn't remember them in there. And then I was looking for a customs form to send something to Canada, and I found these three envelopes in there. And one of them had a number of coins that were donated to give away. And I'm going to get a hold of the person that sent them. And most of them I will give away, but I'm going to ask them if I can put one of them in the auction. And because it's going to cost a pile of money to move my little butt back to Michigan. Hopefully, that will be the last major move I have to make. I don't mind moving across town, but moving across the country when you're 70, yeah. I still haven't figured out the logistics of how I'm going to do this one, but I'm not going to be able to just throw all my stuff in a U-Haul truck and drive myself across this time just because of my health issues. I don't think that's a good idea. So the logistical part is how I'm going to get my car up there. I think how this is going to end up working is I'm going to rent the U-Haul, and I have a family member that was supposed to do the driving. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So, but I think what I'm going to end up doing, just for the purpose of getting my car there without me actually having to drive it to Michigan, is to see if I can find somebody I know that I can hire to drive the truck up there and then fly them back, or somehow manage to get them back home. So it's going to be more expensive, but that's what I'm going to have to do. Yeah, Benji, I looked on the map, and I believe when I put where I'm moving to, the address in, I think it said 6.5 miles to the Goodwill. So, yeah, I mean, I've been in Burton before when I lived up there, but I just, it wasn't a place I went a lot except to go over to Joann's, which is right there. It's really, Joann's is like basically in Flint. I don't even know if it's still there. To where that Cortland Mall used to be. I don't know what it's called now, but empty was what it was called when I lived up there. Pretty much empty. But I did go to the Goodwill bins once. They had just opened the bin part. If I remember, isn't that off of Atherton? Somewhere over there. Yeah. Anyway, ooh, I got a big old bruise on my leg. What the heck? Looks like something bit me and then I scratched it or something. I probably did that when I was detecting yesterday. Oh, that's a nasty looking thing there. Ow. Yeah, I will be so happy to get back to Michigan. I really hate living in Virginia. I did not intend to live here. I did not want to live here. I just got stuck here. And this was the second time I lived here, so I already knew I didn't like it. I was here for a while in 2014 when I had when I was living in my motorhome, which that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I'll be glad to get back to Michigan where I can get better medical care. That's the main thing. Where I live in Virginia, there's no doctors for the things that I have. And I end up going, like, I have to go get some imaging done. And the radiology department at the hospital where I live, is their equipment is so old and so bad that the images are pretty much useless unless you've just like got a giant broken bone or something. Arnie, hey bud, long time no see. So anyway, just for me to go get images done, I have to get in a medical transport and ride all the way to Roanoke, Virginia, which is 2 hours each way, just to go like get an MRI or a CAT scan, or something that's basic. Because I did a whole series of MRIs and they couldn't even the specialists were looking at them and they said, we can't really tell, these images aren't clear enough. And it was part of why my condition got improperly diagnosed, and now is all effed up. So, these 4-hour trips for a 15-minute appointment, it's insane. The other day, I just had to go have them, check the pressure in my eye. I have a tumor thing growing around my optic nerve, and they have to measure my eye and make sure it's not spreading and yada yada. Uh, 2 hours up, 15 minutes in the doctor's office, and 2 hours back. And I do this sometimes twice a week. And when you're sick, that's not what you want to be doing. And half the time the transports don't even show up. And I mean, I don't mind doing that to go to a specialist for like a treatment like I'm going to have to be doing when I'm in Michigan, because I am going to have to go to Ann Arbor, but I don't have to go every other freaking day to Ann Arbor. you know, I mean, if I am where I'm going to be moving to, I can get to pretty much any kind of doctor I need by going to Grand Blanc. I don't have to go halfway across the freaking planet. And so I am definitely looking forward. Plus, they have the little bus. What is it? Your Ride. So if I don't want to drive, I just call and reserve the little bus and let them come and take me. Heck, I've taken that thing all the way to Detroit before, and it's inexpensive and got me where I needed to go. So yeah, I am looking forward to getting back. Yeah, well, this is not just the insurance companies. This is the Commonwealth of Virginia, the way they have things set up. All the money in Virginia is in the northeastern part of Virginia, or the eastern coastline, over by Washington D.C. and Virginia Beach, and that area gets all the money pretty much for the entire. They don't call it a state; it's a commonwealth. I happen to live over on the southwest side of the state of Virginia, which is dirt poor. I mean, I'm in Appalachia. I'm off the Blue Ridge Parkway out in the mountains. There's no money to be made by the high dollar specialists, so we just don't have any. We just don't have any. Yeah, but Artie, this is a special kind of bad here. It really is. People die here because they can't get to doctors. And the town that I live in is considered to be the absolute one of the absolute worst in the state. Yeah, this is not a place I would have picked to live. This just happens to be where I was when I got sick, and then I was too sick to travel. So got stuck here. But I've lived in Michigan before, and truthfully, their health care is pretty good. I mean, it really is. It by comparison to other places I have lived, and I've lived in some great big places, and I've lived in some little bitty places. Michigan's not bad. Once you get figured out what you need and just study a little bit on which insurance plan is going to cover the most of what you need. Michigan is pretty good. I had decent health care. In fact, sometimes I had really good health care. I did have one problem with one of the hospitals, but it was just because they didn't understand. I couldn't, at that time, I couldn't talk. And I was trying to express to them what was going on, and finally I got somebody to get me a pencil and a piece of paper so I can tell them, this is what's going on. And I'm in ICU, like, really, folks, you got to pay attention here. But yeah, the state of Virginia, I'm gonna call it a state. They call it a commonwealth. They really don't have very good provisions for medical care. If you get anywhere really past Blacksburg, which is about 25 miles from Roanoke, anything west of there in the entire state um, is a medical desert. There just are not any specialists because there's not enough population for them to make money. And most doctors, unfortunately, are more interested in making money than they are in making people well. So I end up either having to go to Roanoke, which is 2 hours, or finally I had to jump through hoops for about a year for them to let me go across the state line. I'm only 25 miles from North Carolina. Well, they went through the entire state of Virginia and could only find one doctor that actually professed to know anything about this autoimmune disorder that I have called IgG4 ROD. Um, so they sent me to him, and the things that he wanted to do to treat it were going to interfere with treatments for some other serious things that I have. So I said, well, I'd like to get a second opinion. There was no second opinion available because he was the only guy in the whole state of Virginia that even claimed to know anything about this disease. So then they had to put me in medical transport. They had to approve me going to a different state because they couldn't provide the care here. So they sent me down to Durham, North Carolina to Duke University. And to the head of their rheumatology department, and very nice doctor, uh has treated some IgG4 cases, but not in the eye orbit or brain. He has zero experience with that. He has treated it in other part of the bodies, but it's different when it starts messing with your eyes and your brain. So he says he's looking at the paperwork and saw that I had had a brain biopsy, and he assumed that I had had it down there at Duke, and I said no. I said they did the biopsy sample. They took that in Roanoke, and then they had to send it out. And I had initially thought they sent it to North Carolina, but it turns out, guess where it went? University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, one of three places in the whole country that are actively researching the disease I have. So Susie got to go back to Michigan, and I have no problem with that. I've been trying to go. Yeah, everybody says they can't do it, but I don't want them doing it if they don't know anything about the disease. I don't want them treating me. And at least this guy down at Duke, he was honest. He said, he said, I have no experience with this disease in the brain. He says, I've only encountered it in soft tissue organs, kidney, liver, pancreas, that kind of stuff. He said, this one's out of my league. He said, you need to go back to Michigan. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Money's going to fall out of my butt and I'm just going to be able to pick up and go back to Michigan. It doesn't work that way. I've been trying now for 2 years to get back to Michigan. And it was, trying to find affordable housing and trying to raise the money and trying to be well enough to even make the move. And it looks like we're finally at that juncture. When the lady called me and said, I've just gone through our waiting list and you're now down to about 4 months versus 2 years. And she understands that I'm been trying to get there all this time for medical stuff. So she's doing everything she can to help me get over there. But so anyway, back to all the way around that big circle on Monday the 27th. We'll be doing some auction, some buy it now, some giveaway. I want to make sure that before I have to start concentrating on the move, that none of these items accidentally get packed up and forgotten to attend to as far as giveaway items and that kind of stuff. I want to not have those being packed and moved. And I'll just start fresh when I get to Michigan as far as that kind of thing for the channel. I am going to be making some changes on my channel in light of the fact that I don't seem to be able to work and play well with others, apparently. So I've been told. But anyway, I did go metal detecting. For those of you who missed that, I finally got to go metal detecting yesterday for the first time in over 6 months. And that's why I'm up right now, because my body was screaming and I had to get up and take something for pain. So, and there will also be some jewelry. Some of my handcrafted jewelry is going to get in the auction. Or those will probably just be buy it nows. But yeah, starting on the 27th, I should be picking back up with my regular schedule again. We did finally hit 1,000 subbies. Now we just need watch hours, and since I haven't been producing anything, it's hard to get watch hours. But you can go back and watch the old stuff. Some of it's pretty funny. And if you did not see what I found yesterday over under the community tab, I wrote a little thing about my first excursion detecting since last September. I found an absolutely pristine, beautiful 90% silver 1964 Kennedy half dollar, about 5.5, 6 inches down, in a place that I have searched countless times. I don't think it was a fresh drop. I was using the little sniper coil that lets you get in all the nooks and crannies and weed out the trash. And since I call this place Junk Park, that's why I had that little coil on. And it is a really beautiful half dollar. I mean, it's nice. It's obviously the best thing I found. I didn't find a whole lot of goodies. I found another 40 cents, I think, on top of that, a quarter and a dime and some pennies. Yeah, I think I ended up with 90 cents in change, but 50 of it was that beautiful Kennedy, and there's pictures of it over under the community tab. I didn't have my GoPro or anything. I just was making little blips on my iPhone. That's why I'm playing with the StreamYard on the iPhone tonight, is trying to figure out what I can and can't do with it. Because I was fumbling a little yesterday. I wanted to go live and couldn't figure out how to do it from the park. And so, anyway, that's why I came on at 4 o'clock in the morning to try to see if I could figure out. They have done a few changes on the StreamYard, so I wanted to see how they worked on the phone. And I didn't figure anybody would be up, but apparently I was wrong. Jack had to go to the bathroom, and Benji can't sleep, and I needed medicine. And so it worked out okay. A few folks came in, so I've been kind of working with some of these background functions, trying to uh, see how they work on the phone, and I'm figuring out where everything is. So we may try doing some of that. I'm gonna try to do a little more focus on detecting. This actually was a metal detecting channel when I first started, and then COVID kind of changed that focus. Uh, and I also found more footage of hunts that I did and never made the videos. So there's going to be some more of those retro relics videos. I still have the finds in the plastic bags, so I can get those all photographed and dispensed with before I move, so I'm not carrying bags full of dirt and worms. So I think the pain med's finally kicking in, but I got to get up in 2 hours. So I guess I'll go lie back down for a while. Yeah, like I said, I'll be back on the 27th. I'm doing a lot of paperwork about the move, and trying to catch up on all the doctor's appointments that I had to cancel. When you get the flu or COVID, they don't want you to come into their offices. So everything that I had scheduled in no from mid-November all the way up till the end of February all had to be rescheduled and have to be redone. So I've been doing a lot of that. And I may have to have a surgery before I go, but it's a minimally invasive surgery to put a little device in my heart that will allow me to get off two medications and will control my AFib so I don't have a freaking stroke. Thank you, Arnie. Yeah, everybody's looking at me. Let them look. I may even come back on the 27th, and y'all can see what I look like now versus what I looked like 2 years ago before all of this major health crap kicked in. I look like I aged 10 years in two. My own sister did not recognize me in a store one day. I mean, that's how bad. I mean, all my hair fell out and it came back in really weird. So, And I did a couple of shows wearing my wig, and I mean, the wig is nice, but it takes a long time to get all that gussied up. So I got lazy. Thank you, Arnie. Love you too. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody's kind words. I have always been like a super active person, so it's been very emotionally traumatizing to go through all of the crap that I've been going through. I think one of the worst was when my hair fell out, and I would look in the mirror and I would just like, who the hell is that? I didn't even look. I to me, I don't look like me anymore, and so that's still, you kind of lose your identity when that happens. And all right, sweetie, thank you, Arnie. I will do that. Yeah, it's so weird. You look in the mirror and you're like, who the hell's in my bathroom? Who is that? And this is the third time in my life that I've lost my hair and had to have it grow back. And every time it grows back, it's something different. First time I was a little kid, and when I was born, my hair was black and curly, like Shirley Temple. And my mom loved it. She thought she had the next Shirley Temple on her hands. And I got the measles and the chicken pox at the same time. I had a real high fever. All my hair fell out. And it grew back in blonde and straight. And my mom was heartbroken because she loved those, you know, loved all those black curly ringlets. And then in 2010, I was in the hospital for 6 months. I had several major surgeries, and all the different medications and stuff they gave me caused my hair to fall out. And but I was so sick then, I didn't even care. I just wanted to not die, you know. So that time it kind of grew back the same as it had been, blonde and straight, except that my eyebrows and stuff are so white that you can't even see them. And then this time it has grown back gray, grayish blonde, but the curls are coming back. So it's really weird. Every time I lose my hair, it comes back a little bit different. But at least I have some now. It's taken a year and a half for it to touch my shoulders. But I do have a wig that looks just like my hair did before it all fell out this time. So I may come back on camera though, just so people can see this is what this crap is doing to me. I look like I've been hit with the ugly stick. Yeah, I kind of think my mom would be tickled that it's grown back with curl in it again, but uh, we'll see what happens on the 27th. I was going to come back on the 21st, but I have to go to Roanoke that day, and I also have a family birthday to deal with. So, anyway, I'm going back to bed, folks. Just like I said, I got up to try this thing out, and see, because I couldn't get it to work right at the park. And so I didn't figure anybody'd be up and I could get away with trying it out. But there y'all are, just like me, not being able to sleep. Thank you, Arnie. So now that this medicine is kicked in, I'm going back to bed for a little while. I have a home health aide that's coming in the morning to help me try and straighten this place out a little bit. So she's going to be here in about 3.5 hours. So I'm going to go try and get another hour or two of sleep. And yeah, I definitely overdid it, but it was worth it to find that Kennedy. Like I said, the pictures of it are over under the community tab of the channel. I haven't put a video together yet, but it was a real nice coin. And I hear you, Sir Benji. I got up the other night and was trying to make myself sleep and started. I went through some pennies. I think I opened 3 rolls. I've got a partially done box that I didn't really want the box, but when I went into the bank to make a deposit, the lady saw me coming and she just automatically went and got me a box. So, well, she already went to, the safe and got it out, and she's already got it up here. And so I went ahead and got it. I've done maybe 10 rolls out of it. I've got 5 Wheaties so far. One of them the other night, I was trying to make myself tired. So I was going through a roll, found a 1919. But my best find so far in the box, I must have 4 or 5 different penny albums, and every one of them missing the same penny. And it's not the one you would think. It's actually the 1968 S. Well, by golly, I got a 1968 S the other night out of this box. So I gotta study on that one because some of them are worth a lot of money. Some of them aren't, but yeah, I usually end up sitting there doing 2 or 3 rolls of pennies, and by then my eyes start shutting down and I can go back to sleep. So um, maybe that'll work for Benji. Alrighty. So I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody. And if you don't see me before then, you'll see me on the 27th. M3, the Wonder Kitty, the Mysterium Cat, will be doing a few little videos here and there. He's going to do one about moving back to Michigan. He's a Michigander. He came from Michigan. So he's happy he's going back to Michigan. And otherwise, I'll catch up when I catch up. Thank y'all for helping me do my little test of the StreamYard broadcasting system. Y'all have a great night, great morning, whatever it is. Good night.